our go to bed command. So go to bed means go to your bed, lay down, and settle in because you need to calm down and you might be there a while. I don't have a specific release command, and I have not been telling them stay, I've been telling them settle. This is because for me personally, if I tell one of my dogs, you know, hey, you're bothering me, or I have guests and you're in the way, and I say, go lay down, or go to bed, I want them to go calm down and lay down. Oh, good boy, Toby. Oops, you totally missed it, dude. Nope, you missed that one too. Because I'm probably talking to my guests or I'm involved in something, and I'm not going to remember to release them off of a stay. But the other part of the reason is that if I release them off of a command, they typically bound up with more energy, and what I'm trying to do is get them to calm down. So a settle command, or go lay down, go to bed, means go over there, settle in, expect to be there for a little while. It might be 10 minutes, it might be 20 minutes. If at some point my dog gets up and is like, well, what if I just quietly go lay over here to get a bone or go get a drink of water or whatever, that's cool, I don't care. If they bounce up and go trot it off, and you'd be like, oh, no, you go back to bed. If they quietly get up and they're like, I'm just going to, but I still want them to go to bed, I'm going to say, go back to bed. I expect them to stay in bed for at least 10 minutes on their own without me having to remind them. After that, it'll depend on my mood. So if they get up, I'm not going to say, oh, naughty dogs. I'm going to say, oh, no, go back to bed, because that's valid. So here we go. Doc is involved here today. He is not great at his command is go to your chair. He is not great at it, in part because his congenital issues and his extreme excitement about food, oh, his pupils are already blown, lead to hyperarousal, which I typically refer to as mania. People hear hyperarousal and they're like, why is he horny? No, nothing to do with sex. It is the whole system has just flushed and gone into overdrive. His congenital defect means that he does that fast, way faster than is normal or natural. It's almost his default mode, and it's taken a lot of work to get that to come down. But when a dog is in that mode, they don't learn well, they don't train well, they don't remember well, the brain sort of goes offline. So you'll notice he's much worse at this than these guys are, even though he's been working on it for a long time. I don't work on it regularly, and that doesn't help anything either. So, you know, it would help if I did this daily. Instead, I do it like 4 days a month. Okay, Doc, go to your chair. I'm waiting for him to SIT. Stay there. He still needs a stay command. I use this, Sit. Stay. I use this often for answering the door, which also doesn't help because then he's excited about the door and now he associates it with excitement. So, Toby, come. Good boy. He gets a treat for coming. Toby, now, no treats in I have the bowl of treats, but I'm not holding it in my hand anymore. Toby, go to bed. Good boy. Jay has been working on this with these guys, so when I say good boy, Doc says maybe that's a release. But Toby didn't. Good job, Jay. Doc, go to bed. Sit. Stay. Doc's not getting a treat right there because he broke. He broke way too early, and I am using a hard stay with him. It's not a settle. So he should stay until I release him. Kimba, good girl. Go to bed. Good girl. Good dog. Whoops. Well, that didn't help. Now we make this, we're combining things, we're making this a little bit harder. So, Doc, go to your chair. Oh my God. Sit. Stay. Let's see. Toby, come. Good boy. Now I'm not giving him a treat for that because that was super easy, but I might give him a treat the next time I ask him. Toby, go to bed. Now I did this morning, and they were nowhere near this good. And what I did, good boy. It bumped you on the head. There you go. Doc, go to bed. Go to your chair. Sit. Stay. Kimba, come. Good. I'm going to give her a treat because I've actually called her several times today, and it's resulted in no treat, just pets. So now she gets a treat. Kimba, go to bed. When I did this earlier, this is what I got. And I bumped with my leg. Notice her tail's still up. No trauma there. Good girl, go to bed. Good job, you guys. Sit. Stay. So these guys are doing great. When I did this morning, they both went, we're not sure we remember what that means. And I know darn well they know what that means. So I hissed, or I did or some kind of noise, and I bumped them, much like I bumped Kimba just now. And I just bumped and bumped and bumped until they were on their bed. And then I waited. When they didn't sit, I did the hand gesture. I did not give them a treat. I just did the hand gesture. And they sat. And I waited. And I pointed to the ground. And that was enough for Toby to remember I need to lay down. And then I gave him a treat. For Kimba, I pointed to the ground and she was like, So I grabbed her collar. And I actually pushed, she was facing me directly. And I grabbed her collar here. And I pulled and pushed her this way. So that what happened was her legs came out here and she had to come down into sort of a rounded, comfortable position. And when she did, then I gave her a treat. After that, I called them both away. Doc, stay. Toby and Kimba, come. Sit. Stay. Good job, you two. Toby and Kimba, come. Good girl, Kimba. Now, Toby's not in trouble for not coming because he just saw Doc get in trouble and he's being extra, extra, extra careful. Toby, come. There you go. Thank you. All right, Toby, Kimba, go to bed. Now this is harder because I said both their names. So I can give him an extra second. She's not even thinking about moving. There we go. Toby, go to bed. So here we go. He's like, oh no, I don't want to go to bed anymore. Good job. So this morning with each of them, I had to tell them, I told them to go to bed. I had to bump them towards their beds. I had to gesture to sit, and then I had to gesture, or in Kimba's case, gesture and then grab her collar and pull before they would lay down. Then they got rewarded. But since then, they're like, okay, we kind of know the drill here. So I'm going to make this a little bit harder. First, I'm going to reward Doc because he has stayed very nicely. Oh my goodness. Stay. His pupils are like the size of his irises. Ugh. So to make this harder, no treats. And I'm going to go from somewhere else in the room. Doc, stay. Toby and Kimba, come here. Doc sucks. Hi, you guys. That was very nice. Now you'll notice I said come here and not come. Come here is like an optional recall. Because I was out of sight, and because they have seen Doc get in trouble, I didn't want to give them a hard recall and then tell them they were a little naughty if they didn't follow. It's never much more than that. I wanted to give them that flexibility. So I said, come here, which means if they come, they get rewarded, but if they don't, that's okay. Right? Now, we're going to make this really difficult, and I'm going to tell them to go to bed from over here. But I'm going to do it one at a time, because that's how they're better. So, Toby, go to bed. Okay, I got to be honest, I can't believe he did it. Now I'm waiting for him to lay down. Since he's not, Toby, go to bed. No, this is more what I expected. Go on. Good boy. Good, go to bed. No treat yet. Kimba. Kimba, go to bed. And she just said no, out of frame here, so I'm just going to bump her forward. There you go. She said no by coming and sitting in front of me, so I walked around behind her and just bumped her. At that point, she had stood up to see what I was doing, and I bumped her in the butt with my knee to make her move. Kimba, go to bed. She's on her chair that she loves. Go to bed. Toby, go to bed. Good boy. Kimba, that's not your bed. Go to bed. Now, I very specifically want her to go to bed when I tell her, because, yes, she loves that chair, but if I have guests, there might be somebody sitting in that chair. Go to bed. dogs. Go to bed. Stop, stay. Now, I have to leave the room so I'm out of sight to go get treats for them. So clearly we need to work on telling them to go to bed when their beds are not in sight. But that's one of those things that tends to be more difficult for dogs to pick up on. So the fact that they didn't get it that first time, I don't care. They thought about it, they tried. Sometimes they didn't try, and then I would sort of usher them on. But when they did get it, they were like, oh, this is what you want. And they're doing great at when they get there, settling in, even if I have to go to the room to get a treat and come back and reward them. So, yay! And good job, Jay. I started it. I got the very basics there. Jay continued it. He got them much farther along. And then he was saying he was a little stuck. He needed a treat in order for them to keep going. And the solution there, at the point where he was saying he needed a treat, was just, I gave little body blocks and I physically had them do it. And that added that extra level of motivation where they said, okay, well, we know what to do, but we want to make sure we're going to get rewarded for it. And I said through my little body blocks and little physical manipulation, I said, no, you have to do it, whether or not you might get rewarded for it. And then they went, oh, okay. And then they learned, oh, well, even if we don't want to, Kimba, go to bed. Go to bed. Not her bed. If she were my dog, I would take that. But she's not my dog. So, almost, baby. I can see you're trying. Kimba, go to bed. Good girl. So that was one of those moments when I expect them to go to bed and stay there. They did for several minutes. We're clearly still building up to 10 or 20 minutes, and that's fine. She did for several minutes without a reward. But now, she's like, I don't want to. Kimba, go to bed. At this point, I'm going to grab her collar, even though she's already thinking about heading over. I'm going to grab her collar, lift to sit, gesture and down to go down, stay. And the reason I'm doing that is because adding that touch tells them two things. First, it tells them, I'm serious. You need to do this, and you don't get rewarded if you screw it up. Go to bed. Good girl. And now my corrections are getting a little louder and a little more strident, so she knows I don't like that you're breaking. But the other thing about actually catching them and doing it for them is if they're stressed or tired, it makes it so that they do it right and you can praise them. The other thing it does is that dogs only touch each other, like obviously they'll snap at each other in anger and they'll body block if they're a little frustrated, but mostly they only touch each other for good reasons. So when I take her collar like that, yes, I'm saying I really do want you to do this. And I'm saying I'm going to show you what to do so you can't mess it up. But I'm also saying we're still friends. This is not the end of the world, but here's what you need to do. So there's actually some reassurance in that. I completely have forgotten where I was. Jay was saying he was having trouble doing it when there wasn't treats involved. So the solution for that was to add a little bit of a correction so that not only did they say, oh, I will do it when I want to so that I get rewarded, but then they start learning, oh, it's not really optional. I need to do it so I don't get in trouble. And then when I do it, I get rewarded. There might be a delay like right now, but I still get rewarded. They have definitely earned some serious treats. Hang on. Now, since I don't want them hopping up, I don't want to add energy to this reward, but I do want it to be a much bigger reward because this has been hard for them. So I'm giving them each a handful of treats. You did so good, but I'm keeping my energy quiet. Good job. You don't get treats. You did lousy. So there we go.